Hey guys, what's going on? James and Evan here, back with another episode of Reel to Reel. Today, we are viewing the 2024 horror film Longlegs. It was directed and written by Osgood Perkins. It was produced by a ton of people. Nicolas Cage produced it as well, which is very interesting. It was starring Maika Monroe, Blair Underwood, Alicia Witt, and Nicolas Cage himself. Evan, how you doing today, man?
Doing pretty good. Ready to break it down. It's obviously a lot of people are talking about it, right? So it's I think one of the more talked about horror movies of 2024 so far. We're over halfway done 2024, but not quite into spooky season yet. But Longlegs kind of came out of nowhere, and it has been a hot topic of conversation for horror fans.
So real quick, a runtime of only 101 minutes. It's not that long of a movie, Evan. Its budget was a little less than $10 million, and so far it's made 69.3 million, which I'm gonna be honest, isn't like it's still a great return. Don't get me wrong. Still made $60 million basically at the box office. Um, but this was a pretty good horror movie, right? I mean, what were your initial impressions whenever you were watching it in terms of I don't know. Just give me your initial thoughts, and obviously there will be spoilers here.
Yeah, so obviously the tough thing with horror movies is everybody's scared by different things, right? Everybody is creeped out by different things. Everybody feels uneasy about different things. So horror is really like subjective, basically.
Hmm.
It's very so there may be some people that watch a movie that you think is just terrifying, and they're like, "This is stupid." But there also may be some people that watch a movie like. Honestly, for me, like one of my things is like Hereditary. I don't think Hereditary is scary. I don't find
And that's
Hereditary
and that's
scary
where
at
we
all.
disagree because I think it's terrifying.
Yeah, so like it's just it's a matter of what scares you, right? And there's certain things that are gonna scare certain people, and so you heard a lot coming into this, right, about Longlegs and Nicolas Cage's performance and how Longlegs is, oh my God, it's the scariest movie I've ever seen. You're gonna have trouble sleeping after this. I didn't quite have that reaction to it, but I did enjoy it. Um, I didn't. I'm not sitting here with the lights off at night, being like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." But I did have a good time with it. It wasn't something where I was like, "Oh man, this is disappointing." Again, I thought Nicolas Cage was just unbelievable, just completely transforms into another person, a person that you don't even recognize, and I mean, the creepy, yeah. I would describe this as more of a mystery thriller, actually. And my sister actually, who I had went with to go see it, she's a big Criminal Minds fan, the TV show, and she said, she sort of compared it to like a long episode of Criminal Minds that like they couldn't air on television because of certain gory parts or language or whatever, and it is a lot like that to me. So and a lot of people find Criminal Minds creepy. So I did enjoy it. I don't think it's the scariest movie I've ever seen. I don't think it's the scariest movie that I've seen in 2024. But it is quite enjoyable.
I thought Nicolas Cage carried like 70% of this movie, and that isn't to say that it's bad. I thought that again, spoilers, folks. I thought that the serial killer was a unique character. Okay. I thought that aspect of it was very unique. The satanic symbolism and story of the movie honestly isn't really a new thing, right?
Mhm.
Like a satanic cult does satanic cult things. Okay, we've seen that a ton. But an FBI agent goes and tries to solve a murder and then there's like some twist. That's not new. But I thought that the Nicolas Cage character in this movie was a super interesting take and like a refreshing just character that I feel like we haven't really seen in this style of movie, right? You usually expect satanic cult movie, villains, let's say, to be, like just evil and dastardly, but like this character that Nicolas Cage played, who is a serial killer called Longlegs, hence the name of the movie, was very much just like unsettling, right?
Mm.
Like, yet you didn't get like the full vibe, in my opinion, that like, oh, this guy is like 100% evil. Like, I feel like you knew that, but also you're like, I can't get a read on this guy. Is that fair to say, Evan?
Yeah, I also think if you want me honest, I think it helps like you don't really have like too much of a backstory for Longlegs. Like even like throughout the movie when they're explaining it, like it doesn't give you a ton, right? You don't really know exactly his origins. So it does leave that kind of like, mystery a little bit, I think. And I do think that helps. And like you said, it's the unsettling aspect of it. And I mean, if we're getting into spoilers here, I do want to say the one part that made me jump instantly actually had nothing to do with Nicolas Cage. It's the opening thing almost with Nicolas Cage was creepy, but when both the cops go to the doors, right, and the guy cop knocks on the door and they just get shot. I was like, whoa, I thought we were gonna be in for a whirlwind here. Um, so that made me jump. If we're talking spoilers here, that made me jump. The satanic stuff we can dive into it in a couple minutes here because I do have some thoughts on that. I have some thoughts on like the twist as well, I guess you could say, if you consider it a twist. But yeah, I do think I like that he was sort of more mysterious, and I do agree that I don't know if I would say he carried it because I did like some of the other characters in the film. But I he definitely was, I would say, the star for sure. And there was his presence on screen was definitely felt, and I like how they made his face basically a mystery for, gosh, 60% of the movie, 65% of the movie. So you didn't even know exactly what he looked like. So, yeah, pretty great stuff from Nicolas Cage here.
Yeah, I mean, the FBI character did take me a little bit to get into, right? I wasn't the biggest fan of her character at first. Let me see if I can figure out who played that character. It was
Harkin, I think her name was.
Agent Lee Harker,
Harker.
Micah, or yeah, Micah Monroe. I like I said, I wasn't the biggest fan of her character at first. I grew to be, fine with her character. It just took me a little bit. Dude, dive into that. The plot twist at the end and some of the satanic theming and stuff. Because for me, it was both the imagery in this movie was both a blessing and a curse. There was some moments where I thought it was great. There was some moments where I thought it was super cheesy and fake as hell. So, what were your thoughts on just the satanic theming and also that plot twist you were talking about?
Yeah, so I mean the satanic, well, for one, this movie takes like a 180 turn, like 70% of the way through, where like you're investigating this serial killer, then all of a sudden it becomes like this, oh, it's actually about the devil. Like it's like okay, okay.
Added it pretty late.
Yeah, they did. It felt like something that was I don't know if I would say forced, but I don't know if you needed it, right? I think Longlegs himself was intriguing enough, but is what it is. Um So yeah, I mean, I did like the hidden messaging, I guess you could say, of long legs of the demon. You could see it. I forget there was something I saw. It appears like a certain number of times throughout the entire movie if you look closely.
That's
Like
not
the
a
thing
demon.
with
That
like
they
with
just they that's not just a regular demon. They said that's the big Satan himself. So I don't.
um so then you have that, and I did like that. I did like catching those certain things and seeing it there and stuff. I know you have some thoughts on another version of the devil, I guess you could say, another entity of the devil, whatever. Um, I want to talk about the plot twist though first. So basically, she obviously has a mom, and Agent Lee Harker is very reserved, right? You can tell she's not really the social type. And you wonder why, and then you get introduced to her mom, and you find out that basically, her mom has really isolated her, and she didn't really have, many friends growing up, and this and that. and her mom is very protective, very, very protective of her. And you could just tell something was off with the mom. And then you start talking to Longlegs and you find out, oh, there's actually somebody else that's helping him. And to me, it was pretty clear. Who was it? It was her mom. It was to me, it was pretty obvious. I didn't mind it. I just, man, when a plot twist comes in a movie, I want to have goosebumps, man. I want to get chills down my spine for that split second when I realize it. And when this was like revealed, I was like, ah, yeah, I kind of figured, to be honest with you. So, the twist fell a little short for me. But I didn't think it was so egregious that it really ruined the movie. But it did. I do think they could have done maybe a little bit of a better job there.
Yeah, you know, I agree. Like, I wasn't blown away by the twist. I wasn't like, oh my, like I wasn't expecting it. But I mean, me and you've talked about it. I'd be a terrible detective. But again, like the story did kind of peter off once Nicolas's Cage character had his moment, and that was pretty much done, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Um, Again, like there was some of the imagery, like the depiction of Satan with CGI, and there was veils with demon eyes, Satan eyes that looked like cat eyes, was kind of cringy. Um, and I don't want to like that's like kind of nitpicking. I feel like like I guess it's not nitpicking per se, but like overall, I thought it was a fun experience. It could have been better if some things were changed. I
Now, one thing I want to ask you,
mhm.
and this is the first thing that I thought of when I left the theater. It has nothing to do with me. Oh, I did like it, but does this film have a ton of watchability to you, like rewatchability?
So I was gonna
Yeah,
bring that
I
up.
I don't know.
I was thinking about this earlier. I don't know if I would watch it again, and I don't necessarily think that's like a super bad thing,
Mhm.
but I don't know if I would watch it again. Like it was good. I'm happy that I did watch it. I certainly don't think it was like I regretted watching it. But with that being said, like like it's kind of one of those things where you see it, kind of put it in, like okay, I saw it and it was fine, you
Yeah.
know. Um I don't have to watch this again. I mean, honestly, like this is gonna sound, and we're probably not gonna talk about this movie. Maybe we will somewhere down the line. Like, dog, I would watch Twisters again. Like
If you
Twisters,
feel it.
yeah. If you feel it, chase it. Like, uh, but I do want to say this. Like, I thought Nicolas Cage was great in this movie. I thought the actors did a good job in this movie. I thought the story was pretty interesting, like at first, and then kind of petered off eventually.
Yeah, I do. There was a little bit of like oh, we're building up, building up, building up, and then the interrogation scene happens with Detective Harker and Longlegs, and then it really kind of goes down once Longlegs is eliminated from the picture, basically.
Yeah.
Eliminates himself from the picture.
Well,
Um, but so yeah, I agree. I don't know if I would watch it again. I'm the only way if somebody didn't watch it, right, and they wanted to watch it with me, like I wouldn't say no, but it's not one that I'm gonna be dying to go rewatch.
I'd watch it on streaming again. Like if you're having a movie day and your buddies are like, "Oh, dude, let's watch this horror movie." Like, yeah, I'd watch it again, but like, dog, probably like twice, like two times total, including seeing it in theaters, would be like my limit. I'd be like, okay, I don't need to see this again.
Right, right. Because I feel
Um,
like the mystique of Longlegs, like it's good the first time, and then like you're like, all right, that's what he looks like. Cool.
yeah. So I mean, Evan, what would you give this movie out of 10?
Out of ten, I would probably go. Now, I have a question. I feel like I ask this every time. Are we doing the point 0.5 system or are you doing straight up?
Point 0.5.
Point 0.5? I would probably do 7.5 then. I did like it. It's an original character, which I really like, the Longlegs character in a Hollywood or whatever, with these studios that aren't really coming up with a lot of different things, like creatively wise. I thought Nicolas Cage was I mean, the perfect casting for it. So that helps as well. I mean, some of the imagery was pretty creepy. I liked some of the aspects of the devil. I didn't like all of them. And I did like some of the connections they were trying to make with like the birthdays and stuff. And oh, the main cops, you know, his daughter's birthdays, which we all had to know that was coming up, right? Like you all had to know. Um, so for that, you know, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. I think that, like I said, the plot twist fell a little short, and I definitely agree with you that it kind of went down a little bit, kind of deflated slowly, I would say, after the interrogation scene.
I'm gonna give it a 6.5. You know what? I'll bump it up to 7 because I really do like Nicolas Cage in this movie. Seven for Nick. Uh, the reviews, the critics gave it an 85%, Evan, on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience score gave it a 61. So kind of right in the middle of where we're at. We're somewhere in between the audience and the critics, right?
Hmm.
It was a fine movie. I would recommend people go and see it. I think it's, considering the horror genre isn't really super active right now. I mean, besides Shudder, we've seen some gems on Shudder. We need to get back to that. But aside from that, like, you know, it was good. There hasn't been many theatrical releases of horror movies lately, and this is a good one. I think people, or this is a fine one that I think people could enjoy.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, go see it. That's what I would say. If you haven't seen it, I'm not gonna tell you not to go see it. I would definitely go watch it. Just I mean, just for Nicolas Cage alone. I mean, honestly.
Seriously. So guys, if you have seen it, let us know your thoughts and opinions. If you haven't seen it, go watch it and then come back and let us know what you think about it. We'd love to get your guys' thoughts and opinions about this. Subscribe if you guys are new. Thanks so much for checking out another video of Rio to Rio. And as always, guys, we'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and see you soon.